Welcome to the Business Party Podcast, where we combine our not-so-superpowers to bring you entertainment.
Please, Mr. Zombie, don't eat me. I've got fibromyalgia. I've got gout.
And welcome to another episode of Business Party Podcast. And joining us on this episode, he coming here for a second time, actually. I don't know if anybody catch the first episode, but the wonderful Abel Garcia. Welcome.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for having me back again.
Hell yeah.
Hey, you know what, though? This time I'm alone. No drunken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've all had our times with drunken. I've done many a podcast with him lately. It's a long time.
It
goes on for a while.
That's what I was saying before this. That man is a machine. He really is.
Yeah,
Did you like in the Discord chat how he was like, listen, okay, it was like over 2 hours, but this is all I could chop it down to when he put his video up. And I was like, it's 45 minutes.
He's very long-winded, but it's fun doing it because you watch him as he progressively gets drunker and drunker and drunker, and by the end he's just like, it's just communism.
You know, it's been a while since I've seen any of the live streams. Usually when I watch, I just join in the middle to say hi, in the beginning just to say hi, and I leave because I'm fortunately too busy nowadays to stay.
Yeah, speaking of that, why don't you go ahead and kind of introduce yourself for the people who didn't see the first one or anything, but introduce yourself and tell them kind of what you're doing and what you're up to and all that.
Yes, Uppity Garcia, let's know.
All right, welcome, guys. My name is Abel Garcia. If this is your first time watching me, wow, I have not done that intro in a while. I am a detransitioner. If you don't know what that means, it means I am a former transgender, a former transformer, however you want to call it. Autobots in disguise. Jokes aside. So, again, former transgender, biologically male, tried to become a woman and have returned to being a man again. And the last time you guys have seen me, if you have seen me, or if you haven't, I've been very busy. Unfortunately, a lot of legislation has started, and I am having my hand in that cookie jar with a lot of this work, especially here in the state of Texas. Unfortunately, I can't really say much, but we are working on a lot of legislation to help protect minors from being harmed.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. If you haven't followed Abel, he is on Twitter at Abel Garcia, official Abel Garcia, and he does some really good work with these transitioners. Because I'm anyway, and he really does try to help people out. I saw you tweeted the other day at somebody who said that they were trying to tell their parent that they were going to detransition, and you told them to DM you and to talk about it. But yeah. What do you? So what made you? First of all, let's go. What made you transition first, and then what brought you to detransitioning?
Oh wait, this in my mic. I'm sorry. So to transition, so that's a long story. Long story short, I was a very shy kid, very timid, didn't fit in. It doesn't help that my parents came here to the U.S. illegally. Due to that, my father was busy working the fields, so he never had time for me. And my culture is Mexican, to be more precise, machismo, and I didn't feel I could step up to those standards. And my mind as a young kid, for some reason, assumed that if I can't be a man, I should have been a woman. But obviously, I didn't have the words for that. It wasn't until middle school I found out the word of transgender that made somewhat sense at the time, but didn't think about it until after I had left high school. I wanted to know, what am I going to do with my life? Went to see a therapist, and in my first appointment with a therapist was immediately affirmed as a transgender woman. And told
Wow.
Was it a male therapist or a female therapist?
She was a lesbian female who was also the head person for the transgender support group.
Well, this kind of sounds like that one
Oh.
deal that we were talking about, that affirming therapy and not actual therapy.
Mhm.
Now, unless I'm insane and wrong, that sounds a bit like a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like getting.
I've said this before. Like, your therapist is not there to affirm your condition; they're there to listen. You know.
She affirmed me, said yes, I was a trans woman. She had my letter to transition that same day, and said she did not want to gatekeep me.
Oh, so what year was that?
2016, in California.
It's kind of like going to a marriage counselor that your wife finds, and then they just sit there for 2 hours telling you how you're wrong.
Right. Kind of,
Right.
yeah.
Wait, doesn't that already happen to you though?
Me? I'm always wrong. I know I'm wrong. I just go off the back and go,
Yeah,
"Ah, shit, I fucked up."
I'm twice divorced, so yes.
You go, listen, it's been how many years? I can't be right once? Just, odds. I mean, not even somebody pitches horribly has this bad of an average, but okay. So
You're right about being wrong.
Yeah.
That's basically how it goes.
But,
So,
yeah,
okay. So you go to this lady, she affirms your gender.
Yeah, so I didn't accept it right away. And I continued seeing her because I thought, okay, so my logic at the time was, even that was a little too fast even for me. But I said she's probably had a life experience and she could probably figure it out right away. That was my justification, but I still continued seeing her. Eventually, my father found out. Long story short, he took me to Mexico with a prostitute and $100 bill. Let's just keep it at that.
Damn.
You don't have to. We're on Rumble. I want details.
We're on Rumble. I thought we were on YouTube.
Right now we
Who
are.
cares? Pull off YouTube. Who cares? So your dad took you to see a prostitute in Mexico.
Yeah, gave her $100, and y'all can figure out what the rest happened.
All right, like Biloxi Blues.
I have a question real quick though. So you said that you continued to go back to that therapist. Did you feel like during those sessions that like she was kind of trying to push you more towards a transition, or just kind of like leaving little hints and that type of thing?
I honestly don't recall. It's been so many years.
Right.
But yeah, she was affirmative only. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So were you dating girls at the time, or like did you
I
like
had never
girls?
dated anyone prior to that.
But did you like girls or did you like guys? What made you
guys? Romantically, I really didn't feel attraction to anyone.
So you were just like whatever, you didn't care?
Yeah.
It didn't bother you either way?
Yeah, I really didn't care. But that's because my parents told me that I have to put education above everything, which I thought they would have been okay. And I was raised Catholic, and it was, you don't do anything till marriage. So it's like, okay, maybe. But no, apparently, me not dating anyone was worse than my father, even though religious-wise, like, don't do anything till marriage.
Yeah.
So do you think... I had a good question, and then my mind started working, and I forgot it.
That all happens to all of us.
So, do you think, like, kind of? I guess you would say she kind of groomed you into being trans, or
I wouldn't use the word groom, and
Okay.
I'm also saying that legally, I don't want to say much on that.
Okay,
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's so much stuff that could probably go into that. But again, I'd rather not shoot myself in the foot for a lot of stuff. So.
Listen, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, did she like take you, turn you around, and push you? No, I don't.
She invited me to the transgender support group, and I did go. And it was affirmation only with everyone in there. That's no pushback to my memory. And I don't have
that seems left. Yeah, that's kind of seems like the norm if you see how today the issue is of detransition is treated within any community, whether it be in the transgender community or out in like the CNNs and stuff of the world. They pretend like it doesn't exist.
Mhm.
So I would be surprised if you were in a transgender support group and they would even talk about any negative thing about it.
Right.
Nope. They only talk. Everything was good.
So what was it like your first time going into a doctor's office and being like, okay, I'm ready to start this transition?
So eventually, after I said yes, which was many months later, and she approved everything. The clinic that I went to was trans affirming. I didn't really know that until they sent me to one of their other locations, and that building had all the stuff they needed. I had a chat with the doctor. I don't even think they told me any potential negative side effects. All they did was X-ray on my hand to check the age, which, now that I think about it, seems odd, but okay.
Wait, I was just gonna say, wait. They X-rayed your hand to tell you your age.
Well,
The age of my bones, if I remember correctly. Like, it's been many years, and
everyone knows you're like a tree. You got to cut you in half and count the rings. That's how you count the age.
All right, I got a knife in the background.
You cut your finger off, and it's just like, let's see how many.
I accidentally cut myself, but I'll be back.
So, I've heard the number is 4 years you're supposed to go to, or 2 or 4 years that you're supposed to go to therapy before you even start anything like that.
Where'd you hear that?
That's just a number I've heard. I think it was one of the Tim Pool or one of those shows kind of that you. So
well, when I was in school learning about this stuff, they did say it was like for like gender dysphoria and such, it was traditionally like 2 years, but this was like back in like 2009. Okay, so
that makes
that traditionally it was like 2 years that you'd have to go into therapy and then start.
Yeah. So like how many? So you said months. Like how many months are we talking? Like 9?
I started to see her early 2016, and I believe I accepted everything in October and finally started everything in November
of 2016. Okay. So it was the same year.
Yeah, everything was.
It didn't even give you a year, man.
Yeah, you're moving fast.
You think that's bad? I'll tell you how quickly the roller coaster went. But before we continue, I will say the incident with my father in Mexico with the prostitute was actually what I realized later, not then, but much later, that was a trauma that I had, that I was dealt with, that made me want to disassociate with my body completely, because prior to that, it was only thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And that Catholic guilt, it doesn't matter. It stays with you all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a Catholic too. I still got it.
But yeah, so I eventually started hormones in November 2016. And once that happened, 11 months into my transition, medically and socially, I met with another medical professional to get approved for surgery. Now, I had only asked for implants. And this was 11 months in after starting hormones. So October 2017. A few weeks after my appointment, I get 2 letters in the mail. One is for breast implants, and the other one is another surgery that was approved by my insurance. Now, here's the weird part. I had only asked it for implants. So why would they give me a second one, Yes?
I would just say for the push.
For the money.
What that second surgery might be?
Oh, yeah.
I know which one it is.
Where they,
I forgot you've already heard this story.
They take your male eggs.
Well, and I know which one it is, but it's like the reason why would be more to push it, if anything, to be honest. I mean, money wise and.
Yeah, well, it was for bottom surgery.
Yeah.
Or it is referred as bottom surgery. For a man like me, it would have been. In the beginning, I used to believe it was just cutting it off and working with what's left, but no, they actually cut it up and put everything inside out. Yeah, it's worse than I.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's like
that's what they had given me a letter for. Didn't realize it at the moment. After talking to a few friends, we realized, oh, that's the surgery they just approved me for.
like a
Mhm.
blown up roast beef sandwich.
I can't eat roast beef anymore now.
But that's so like, but that's a thing. That's they kind of so now you go through this transformation, and now you're on medication for the rest of your life, right? So now they hook you in, and now you're hooked on this medication for the rest of your life. So now the drug companies now have guaranteed income from you for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Mhm.
So I mean that's kind of why they're doing it to these kids. I believe one of the reasons why is because now now they have a guaranteed income.
Yeah.
They keep
Yeah.
pushing this and pushing this.
Well, this is why they try to get everyone to do it as young as possible.
Mhm.
Jazz Jennings, Jazz did this. I think since
Have
he
you
was
met her?
4. I've never met Jazz, and I doubt his parents would ever let me near him.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
get fame, they'll be like, "Oh, he's one of those domestic terrorists. Get my child away."
Oh, especially that abusive ass mother.
Oh,
Man.
Oh God, yeah.
have you seen the recent clips of Jazz?
Yeah, we
Mhm.
played it. We played it. That's
Oh, okay. So you guys played the event, that video, and didn't even call me. I am offended.
we were on the we were in the comment section. Remember? You guys are talking about detransitioners. You guys don't have me on. Here you are. You want me to let's see.
I'm offended.
I'll find
I'm
it.
offended. I'm out.
But yeah, I mean, that's just the mother is just horrible.
Well,
And I mean, that's literally TLC putting on literal
abuse.
child abuse
Mhm.
on television
yeah.
as
You think that's
entertainment.
bad? You want to know? There's another clip of the mom waking up, admitting on camera, saying Jazz went to sleep one day, and he didn't use his dilator to dilate himself. Do y'all know what that is, or should I go into a little detail?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do. We know what it is. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, Jazz went to bed one day, forgot to use it, and his mom woke him up. And I'm assuming she violently woke him up, or at least kindly pushed him, but I'm going to violently. And said, Jazz, you either have to do it yourself, handed it to him, and said, you do it yourself, or I'll do it for you. Unless I'm wrong, no parent should ever be telling their kid, you do it or I'll do it for you.
No.
No. Well, have you heard the story as to why the parents said that Jazz was transgender at such a young age?
They wanted a daughter. Is that accurate?
No. So apparently, this is what the mom told Barbara Walters.
Baba
So,
Wakas.
Baba Wawa. So apparently, they had an interview with Barbara Walters back in, like, I think
Back in the day, yeah.
back in the day. It doesn't matter when. So they had an interview with her, and the mom was saying that when Jazz was 2, Jazz came up to the mom and said that they had a dream that their penis was cut off and it was now a vagina. And that was the reasoning for
Oh yeah.
the mom saying that they thought that Jazz was transgendered. And then it wasn't until Jazz was 5 that they started to socially transition him.
Jesus Christ.
So if I went to my
Yeah.
mom and said I had a dream that I was a fucking warrior in the Renaissance age, does that make me a knight now? That's like I don't understand
Yeah.
it.
Europe first, and then to join their imperial army.
Right.
If you play a dragon, then yes, you will.
That's fucking crazy to be like, my kid had this dream about that. So you know what? I'm gonna make it reality.
Right.
Wake up to reality.
Mhm.
Well, what's funny is, so, like, the family, they already had, like, it's 4 kids. The oldest is a daughter, and then the 2 middle kids are twins, and they're twin boys, and then there's Jazz. I used to watch the show religiously when I was younger. I'll tell you that. Like, so I've watched it before, and yeah, I just didn't understand what was going on at the time until, like, now, and I'm like, oh my god, that was really fucked up.
Mhm.
Well, have you heard of the phrase Munchausen by proxy?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what I said. It is.
absolutely.
Well, unfortunately, that's not what it is. It is for Jazz and a lot of kids like him. It's actually Transhausen by proxy. It's the same thing, but it's used for the trans stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Same
like the whole
concept.
Desmond is amazing thing too. Like
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I
the
think I saw a
mom.
recent photo of him, and he does not look healthy.
Ugh.
There's actually another young man who did transition. I don't remember his name, but he was 14 when he came out. Um, him and his mom both transitioned. The mom became his dad, and he became the daughter. I don't know if you remember that. It was like a
What?
year ago.
Whoa. No, I don't remember
No.
that at all.
Yeah, so the kid was it was back in the day where instead of talking they would hold signs and they would remove them instead of
Mm.
talking. So it's like that old, that video. But the someone had just posted that the kid he's still intact, but he's doing porn because the kid's 22.
Mm.
It's so sad because it's nothing but something for a guy to stick his wiener in. That's all it is. That's all it turns into is just a hole. Because you're not supposed. I mean, from what I've heard, you don't get any pleasure out of it.
Oh no, you have no pleasure.
Yeah.
If at most any feelings you get will be pain, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no nerves, and again, it's just a home. Yeah, there are a couple of different men who've had it, and it's not fun for them. Kind of glad I dodged that bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have one friend that I know is still thinking about going through all that, and that's one of the main things that I want to have a talk with him about. It's like, I mean, you can do it if you want, but you realize that there's a lot of bad things that may come with that. Is no more feeling.
Well,
And that,
there's no benefit to this. Actually, it's all negative.
yeah.
But the
Mhm.
thing is, the way that the media has propagandized this, the activists, the government have made this look like makes it all look like it's nothing but sunshine and rainbow, and that's how I felt for it. I thought it was sunshine and rainbows. I thought it was all good.
Mhm.
No.
Mhm.
So when did you talk about, when you kind of like fully socially transitioned and I don't and kind of like how that made you feel and then what made you decide to say enough is enough and I'm going to detransition.
So in the beginning, everything went well. Actually, I was affirmed. I was love bombed, and everyone was telling me what I wanted to hear. This is what I want. This is who I was supposed to be. I was being your stereotypical stuff, what you're told, and I believed it. It wasn't until I tried to become a cop, uh,
Mm.
and I realized there was some hostility. I didn't realize it completely in the beginning, but there was a little bit. I continued going. I eventually failed, but I had gotten on the radar for the chief of police for the department I wanted to work with. Um, Eventually, once I got on his radar, we chatted, and I was doing volunteer work for him. And the first time I go do some work for the chief of police, and all I was doing was trying to build a better relationship between the police department and the LGBT community, predominantly the transgender community.
Mhm.
My first try was a group that I had normally was with the trans community, was met with being accused of being a cisgender woman by the questions that I had asked. And long story short, it all ended with me being called every name in the book that's associated with the far right. The funniest part
Mhm.
is I was called Breitbart, and I wasn't even anywhere near the right wing, not even close to center. I was actually a Democrat at the time, and they all knew who I was, so I found that even funnier. I didn't realize it then, but I was canceled that day. I eventually stopped working with the police because I couldn't really do my job or volunteer work.
Mhm.
And after some time, I had also had the implants by then. Um, all the drugs, everything wore off. Woke up one day and I looked at myself in the mirror, completely naked. Because I think I had just got out of the shower, but that's off topic. I asked myself, what the hell am I doing? I realized that everything I would have done if I had continued getting more surgeries, more hormones, if the world would have recognized me as a woman, I would have never been a woman. I realized that all I would have done or been is a caricature of what I believed a woman was, because I can look the part, I can do my best to act the part, but I was never a woman, because you can't turn into a woman if you're a man. A woman is something that you are born into, and it is something that I, as a man, will never understand. I can see, but it's something I will never completely understand. And I think with that realization, the fact that I was no longer being affirmed by everyone, I was hated, canceled, etc. I think the realization just settled in, and that wasn't fun because I dealt with depression and alcoholism for a while.
Mm-hmm.
My double.
No. It's funny that you bring up like the whole love bombing thing, because I find that as to be like something that happens a lot in cults, actually.
Mm-hmm.
To begin with, is what they do to get you in. I think it was even in if you look at the Nexium cult that's just got dismantled and stuff, and one of the people there was saying that when they went into these sessions, all they did was just get love bombed by all these people. I remember when I was flirting with the idea of going into sorority, like all the girls would just like love bomb me. Oh my God, you're so great. You're this, that. I never got flowers from a woman before, but that was the first time I've ever gotten flowers from a woman. And it was because they wanted me to join their sorority. And it freaked me out a little bit. But
They want
so
you to do
it's
that
funny.
dance that they all did.
That reminds me of
I will not take
episode,
my clothes off.
that actually reminds me of an episode of Family Guy where Meg goes to college and Peter's in a sorority girl.
Yeah.
I'd look at it, but I'm on my phone, so.
But so they start, so from what you're saying, so you're trying to bridge this gap between the police department and mostly like the transgender community, and just because of the questions you're asking, they like totally cut you off from the love bombing and then like did a 180 on how they were treating you.
Yep.
Like what was so offensive with your questions that they would be like, nope, you're done, you're out, you're a cis woman?
Yeah.
What events do y'all have? Well, I'm sorry, I'm using my text lingo now. What event do you guys have coming up that the chief of police and the department can join and attend so they can build a better relationship with you guys? That's it.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, that was it?
That didn't take much.
Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
they say, well, you know what we're having. You know what events are coming. I say, yeah, but I'd rather double check it so when I report back to the chief, I'm accurate.
Right.
But apparently, no, that was my first crime.
Wow.
That says something.
Yeah, that was enough to get me out.
It's so funny how quickly they turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like it you feel so bad. It's like they're all like, oh, these Republicans are just but you say one thing that doesn't go along with it, and it's just like, hey, let's try to get inclusive and include everybody, and it's just like, that's not what we want.
Well,
that wait a minute.
Inclusivity from everyone except for the straight white cis male, unless you're bowing down and doing as they work.
Well, that's part of the the cultural Marxism, whether even what they want to really realize that or not. But once you start creating the factions and it's you either agree or you don't, that's part of the whole cultural Marxism deal, to where it's constant. You're going to agree with this, or we're going to slam you down, and we're going to call you all sorts of names that you shouldn't be named. Mm-hmm. It tends to be how it runs through a lot of this, even if it is a total different faction, but it still is part of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. A was muted for a minute. Yeah.
Sorry, I just got some mail. You got mail.
Good.
You got mail.
But it's funny, like, so this video right here, I hope it'll play because, like I said, my sound is being a pain in the ass. Can you hear it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these people are just silently protesting. So this is what
Put in a violent with other men because they're stronger.
You know, we are not out here to engage right now with the public. We're doing a silent protest, but you can go to the website of this organization and you can read all about it, and we will dialogue with you. We're not going to do it today.
I did read about it briefly here.
Okay.
And I do have criminal
But
justice.
we're open to it. We're just not doing that today.
Okay,
Thank you.
I
Thank
do
you.
have that education.
Oh,
I just had to.
what the fuck?
What's this about? Why are we doing this? They're violent. They're violent men. They're violent men. You. This is male. Why are we doing this?
They're violent men. These are violent men. They're violent men. They just had fun. Yeah, these are the men that we like to not have to be in prison with. So.
What the hell?
What did you think they were? Yeah, this is what you think they do. Yeah, I don't know why you would think anything. I just quite can't think.
I just love the lady with the dogs. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I
Like,
know.
lady,
What country?
Have you not watched the video online and seen this happen?
Yeah, I
But
already
this is
No,
seen that video.
she hasn't.
I might know where this was. I just don't recall. Does it tell you where it happened?
no.
If it's the U.S., I might know the group. If it's not you,
Women silently protesting transfer of Dana Rivers, a transgender convict of triple homicide, a woman's prisoner violently attacked by two men, and their signs stolen from them. What we recently saw, billboard Chris normally. Yeah, now it doesn't.
it's not the U.S. Dana Rivers is not a U.S. citizen, but I remember I think it's out of country. I just can't remember where. That name it sounds.
Canada.
It's not U.S., but might be wrong.
Yeah, but it says no men in women's prison, and they just.
I don't get that.
And then some man. Hold on.
Fine.
Some man attacks them because what they want men in women's prisons. Is that what the fuck they're attacking them for? That's
I
fucking
know.
ridiculous.
So the men that they're talking about is obviously
Yeah.
men who identify as transgender.
Yeah.
But, and these women are being honest. Like, yeah, these are men. It doesn't matter if they identify as women or not. The fact that they're not supposed to be in women's prisons, women's anything, but the culture has changed so drastically that when you tell people there's men in women's prisons, they're assuming like Bubba.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that's and entirely wrong. Some of them are, but
Right. Well, this. I mean, but this
like,
like
the change
part.
of culture and the change of course. Your average normie, that's what they are assuming when you say man and women. But when you tell them it's actually a man identifies as trans, they automatically think someone like maybe small, petite, like jazz before surgery.
Yeah, but that's
Jazz
not-
before jazz.
Yeah, but that seems to be not the case because that's that one that video that I posted on TikTok too long ago about the molecular geneticist, where she was talking about this all goes against certain codes that have been set by the UN and whatever else because, well, women shouldn't be in men's prisons because of a blatant fact that they get raped, and also men beat each other to death. Women
Yeah.
generally don't.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it was one of the rules that they signed back in the 20th century that saying that men aren't allowed to be in women's prisons as well?
Yeah, it's back and forth. They're not supposed to be in each other's prisons.
What was it? I can't recall. It was probably after World War I or II.
It was after World War II. Yeah, she said The Hague, but I don't know if it was that or not. But I know there was something signed that said that.
Yeah.
Senpai said, "Remember when Antifa thought I was you? Well, now they know who I am for real."
Well, I still find it funny that they thought drunken was me.
That's a big difference.
I'm actually a white man from the bumfuck of nowhere.
Right?
I know his wife will murder me if I add more to that joke.
Yes, you will. Yes, you
I'm
will.
not allowed to go to Alabama after those jokes. She will first. I know the minute my plane touches the Alabama ground, she'll be like, "Abel's here. I'll be back."
You go to Nashville. They're only an hour and something away. They're gonna find you. Trust me.
Don't tell them I'm in Nashville. I was there in February.
But this is it. What's funny is this lady. I'm gonna back it up a little. this is what the world outside of the internet doesn't like. They don't get it. Like when you're on
Yeah.
TikTok lives and all this stuff, and we do this, like a lot of people don't watch any of this stuff. So they're out there and they're just like, oh, wait.
Expression. Who are these people?
Yes,
Holy
Yes.
crap!
and to,
I didn't even plan on being here. Holy
hey
crap!
buddy, hey buddy.
And this has happened in Portland, in Tacoma, in
Why can't we have a
Chicago, and
dialogue?
New York.
Why can't we have a dialogue?
I
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the rest of the world who doesn't live online. They don't get it. And when people leave
Yeah.
the online space and go, you know, and you talk about like it's senpai or biz, me, like a lot of people don't know, or are you able, like you can talk about Abel Garcia and they're like, who's that? And you ever heard of detransitioners? Oh, detrans what? It's like
Yeah,
you've heard
that
of a
doesn't
transgender,
happen.
right?
So I'm a
Yeah. Well,
former transformer Autobot.
Mhm.
Add a little humor to it. But you know what? I was actually reading chat right now while we were watching that, and Drunken just brought something up that is interesting because I was just there yesterday. Texas has actually trying to pass a bill to bring insurance from if you transition. So the bill is HB 3502. It is if insurance pay. Well, they're not forcing it, but they're saying if you cover this, you should cover this. So if you cover
Yeah.
transgender surgeries and medication, all that stuff, you should also cover for detransition. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't understand. It's also adding coverage to those who are still transitioning but are dealing with medical complications. Because
Mm.
my eyesight should not be nearly gone by now. My back shouldn't be hurting, and a lot of
Right.
other issues. I shouldn't be questioning my fertility with so much atrophied. At 26, maybe when I was maybe when I'm 80, but at 26, something's
Right.
up. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much I can say, but the bill did go well in the House. A little pushback by some Democrats who try to twist the bill into something else.
no,
But it got shot down.
people doing that in Congress, changing around words of what you say.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the good thing. The activists were not there. It has been brought up to the radar because some people are keeping an eye on them as well, but they're ignoring this bill. But we can only assume why.
Mhm.
Mostly because,
Well-
the Democrats, most of them don't want to sign off of it. And again, I'm not allowed to say much publicly on that.
Right.
Well, it's also like because if they sign off on this and if they talk about this, then they have to say that detransitioning is real.
Mhm.
Because the whole concept and the whole premise of I guess their foundation is that no, there are no detransitioners.
If
99%.
there is, we're only 1 or 3 more 1%, and we only do it because we're dealing with internalized transphobia. We had
Mhm.
we don't have the finances. We don't have loved ones. We don't have.
I know that's the craziest
Right.
part. I have seen that a couple of times on people that have transitioned and shit, and they're like, "Well, that's because you're or internally transphobic."
Mhm.
But
Look,
like, are you serious? You're
you
calling
guys
the
wanna
person
know
that
why-
was transgender? You're gonna call them that after the what in the fuck is that? Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You guys want to know why I actually detransitioned? Wait,
You
before
got
I
sick of playing with your boobs.
is still in the chats.
But
Drunken.
I'll wait till Drunken replies in chat because the joke involves it.
Because you got Skittles. Because you didn't want to start the OnlyFans with Drunken. That's why.
You know what? Yes, Drunken
right.
said he did not want to do OnlyFans with me. He had
Now it's
left.
coming out.
He left me for his wife. So
he
He's
said
still,
yeah.
He's still there. Why? 'Cause-
he picked his wife over me, and that's why he trans-
Now, do you have like an organization or anything that you're associated with? Nothing. You're just doing
No.
this.
I do it by myself, but there are organizations I'm working with, or they bring me in when they need my assistance. Some of those groups is GenSpect, which is a UK based, but they are all over the U.S. now, all over the world now. Partners for Ethical Care. Yeah. PEC. What is that saying?
So to be fair, I was married before I knew you.
Drunken. You're supposed. Oh, so are you telling me it was something else then?
Oh.
I'm just saying. But
and and he said, and I don't like man butt.
Hey, who said you were gonna get it?
Yeah.
It just I feel so bad, man, because it like you said, your eyesight's going, your back is killing you,
Yeah.
you're dealing with infertility.
Oh.
And I honestly think, once again, going into conspiracy world, I honestly think that's what that you put a frog in hot water, boiling water, and it'll jump out. You put a frog in water and you turn up the temperature slowly, the frog will stay there and boil itself. And I think that, when Bill Gates talks about depopulating the nation, I think that's kind of why they're doing this. They're trying to
I think it's
depopulate
a
us,
little bit
but
of it.
slowly.
I think it's a little bit of it.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of us, and and
well, it's kind of an easy way to push it without saying pushing it, because to be honest, we all know it's a little bit trendy now, right?
Well,
it seems to be a trend type of deal.
How are you going to convince someone easy? Are you going to would you rather tell a young man like myself, yes, you're going to finally become the woman you were to be? Or do you tell them, you can look like a woman, you can act like one, but you're still going to be a man. You're just going to be a caricature.
Well, but that's why you brainwash them at the youth level. That's why they're kind of pushing it towards kids and shit like that, because
children.
Exactly.
You can actually also brainwash very vulnerable adults who have been abused in the past or have some form of trauma.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you can color it up and put a bow on it and say this will make you happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will go to the extreme just for the thought of
you're facing the dragon.
Having that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think what it is that, we've gone through the last couple of years and still going through it of people just telling men they ain't shit, like cis men are just bad and cis men are rapists and this and that. And it's like, and then
bad in general.
Huh?
Or all men are bad in general.
Yeah. You just keep saying how bad men are. And then you put that in kids' heads, and kids are growing up thinking, well, I'm going to be a man. Maybe I'm bad. Maybe I should be a woman, and then I'll be fine. And then, and then what happens? And then now you're transitioning into a woman, so you're not the bad person, and now you're a trans woman. And this is what infuriates me. Like they say, trans women are women. No, the reason why is that little 4-letter word or 5-letter word that comes before woman, trans. You've made a transition from a man to a woman, and it's, huh?
Okay.
He'll be right back.
Said I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well,
but no, well, I agree with you, Davey, but here's also another thing I have to add is the sheer genetics factor, the XY XX chromosome. I mean, we can all go into how people can transition and act and whatever else. Okay. But the sheer fact of is if we go to actual science, trust the science community. How about trust the science?
I was going to say, trust the science people?
Yeah, let's trust this science, like, X, Y, and XX equals either man or woman. It's the only way it's going to go. And I don't even care. Like I've seen articles out of Japan and all that other shit where they're like, oh, we can do artificial embryos and whatever, like wombs and shit like that later. I don't give a fuck if you can do that. You are still not going to be what they say you are trying to be. It's just sheer reality.
You will never.
Well, let me I want to say something on the flip side real quick. It's just like you could say that about, like men transitioning into women because of them demonizing men. But on the flip side, though, you have a lot more women nowadays. I think most of it is a social contagion, yes, but two is that as a woman, they're being told that they're victims because they are women. Men are
Right.
stronger than you, better than, like, bigger than you, better than you, blah blah blah. So instead of just embracing actually being a woman or being a tomboy or whatever, that's like warped into their mind that, well, I'll just be a man
Yeah.
instead and things will be easier.
Well,
Well,
and
I don't care if I have male privilege, because apparently there's privilege, because me as
right.
a woman, I don't have that privilege.
It goes
So
back
And that woman
trauma.
made a good point about something like that. The molecular geneticist. She said, and it doesn't even have anything to do with that. It's the misogyny has been internalized so much into these people that the comfort of the man takes precedent over the safety of the woman. And it seems
right.
like that is what happened, to be honest, especially with all of this, like sports wise and
Yeah.
shit.
Well,
Like I,
women, we are eliminating ourselves.
Yeah.
like I said, it goes back to what I said. It's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of
Right.
internalized stuff. It doesn't help the fact that the internet is now promoting not just the transgender stuff. Well, yes, but the society's worst image of what it's supposed to be, man and a woman. Just look up
Right.
some of the trans women, and you'll see what I mean. They'll talk about the trauma they dealt with as a kid and how the internet affected them and influenced them.
Mhm.
Well, I was in
Well,
a live with a girl who was talking about how when she was a kid, she had her childhood taken from her at a very, very young age. I think she was like 3. And right after that, she said that she came out and told her mom that she was a boy because, she felt that she had more power as a boy because she was never going to let that happen to her again. And as she grew up, she wanted to turn into a boy and everything like that. And, good thing she said, a good thing her mom didn't let her transition at an early age, because now she has kids and everything like that. And she's very happy. But,
yeah.
like you said, it's about taking the power. And that's what she said. She's like, I wanted to make sure that would never happen to me again. And I felt like if I was a boy, that would never happen to me again. And it's just the mind is a bastion of
It's a powerful thing.
insanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about this too, like you think of, and I think a big component too is like social contagion as well. Because if you look at like dissociative identity disorder, everyone was talking about how they had DID on TikTok, and it was like all these kids coming about how they had all these disorders and stuff, and it became
Wasn't
a
there
fad.
some issue on TikTok with a lot of little girls who were saying they had some tick?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
That was
yep.
Tourette's shit, and they were watching stuff, and it was actually giving people without Tourette's. They were fucking starting to do that because that's just what they're watching
Yeah,
all the time, and it becomes a part of their norm.
yeah.
Trish's
I mean, it's
brother watches all those video game guys, and the kid will, as he's playing the game, will talk about what he's doing while he's playing the game. And it's because he watches all these influencers on Twitch and stuff like that talk about the game, and the kid just does it. He automatically, without even thinking, he's just like, yeah. And then I went and I punched this guy. Watch this. I'm gonna punch him, and he punches him, and he's like, watch this. And then now I'm gonna go in the car, and he's just talking about it, and it's because he
Right.
watches all these videos.
I guess there are more examples of social contagion now that we think.
Mhm.
The earliest one that I can think of, though, too, was back in the early 2000s. In I talk about this sometimes. It's like Gloucester County or Gloucester City up in like Connecticut or something, and these girls had a pregnancy pact
Oh yeah.
where they all got they all decided that they were just going to go get pregnant, and like that's like an example of like a social thing and people doing it just to be a part of the in crowd, I guess.
Have a good one, Jack.
Later, Jacko.
Bye, Jack.
Yeah, I just it's a lot of influence, and the news doesn't help because they just keep on pushing the stuff and social media, and social media is going to be one of our downfalls. And I was watching I wanted to show the Riley Reid. Ooh.
Totally wrong video.
I mean, both of them are right, but this dude, like, the people in America don't understand the other countries and what the other countries like. Everybody thinks America is the center of everything. Everybody thinks like America and everything like that. But if you go to other countries or you listen to people from other countries, they are just taking our money and don't care. I want to show this. I saw this today and I was like, holy crap, this is kind of what I keep trying to tell people.
America right now comes to Tanzania, comes to Ghana, comes to Zambia with 16 million. And guess what? 16 million only for Zambia. The 16 million, ask me, what is it for? What is it for? For human rights. Across the river, China and Russia coming to South Africa, ask me for what? For what? For a military training and skills sharing of security. So the Americans are more interested in a transgender, homosexual agenda around the world. They will invest their money and give you money to protect human rights. Russia and China are coming with weapons and militarization strategies so that we can protect ourselves. So I want to say this very loud and clear to the Americans. Continue on your transgender agenda. Stay there. Leave us to do politics on the other side. Because what we need right now is not a minority human rights activation. What we need is a societal transformation. And for you as Americans to think that we really envy that when you have an anti-lesbian, anti-gay, LGBT principle, then tourists would drop. Let me correct that once and for all, Smooth. And cut and clip this, and it must be loud and clear. Are you saying to me that all the tourists are gay? And when you hear that this is non-gay zone, tourism will suffer? Question number one. Question number two. Are you saying that we don't have a right to expressing ourselves as Africans? Question number three. If democracy means majority rules and majority votes against a principle, then why won't you allow that to become law? Are you saying the minority must manage the majority or the majority must manage the minority? Then if that whole ideology is wrong, then take democracy in a nice black dustbin bag and throw it outside. Because what you are telling us is by the people, for the people, with the people, and all those slogans you hear, what democracy represents. If we are 10 in the room and 9 people say no, and one person says yes, democracy says you go with the majority. So if we say we want to make Africa democratic, and the demographics of our democracy says no, then why do you philosophically want to manipulate the will of the majority to favor the will of the minority? Then this is where it really gets confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because you're telling me one thing, I understand this democracy because it is based on the principle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it comes to practice, no, you can't practice it like that. Then what do you want? Do you want democracy? You want anarchy? You want indigenous governance systems? You want meritocracy? Maybe let's find another way of governing ourselves. But the ideology of democracy being founded on majority rule does not count.
And he's not the first one to be saying this shit either. Putin said this exact same thing about us, like whenever they were first getting into that that whole war and shit. Putin was like, yeah, they're trying to push the transgender agenda, all this other shit, trying to normalize pedophilia. And he even saying that out loud too is like he recognizes that shit. Now we have this leader as well. And yes. And you wonder why the world is against us now. Because we're weak as fuck. That's what we are.
Well, it's obviously that we are weak. Look at our president. Look at the people.
And our military looks like a fucking joke right now.
Oh my God. It sucks to say that. It sucks to really say that. But I was also talking when I did the Dive Bar News last night with Kelly, and I was telling her, like, do you understand, like, the military? You know what's bigger than the military in the United States?
What?
Homeland Security. You know what Homeland Security doesn't pledge to?
The United States?
The Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
So if they want to come in and just round everybody up, they just send Homeland Security. And the military's depleting as much as, as many people as possible because of all their wokeness and all their, two moms and,
Well, and the vaccine mandate didn't help that too.
Yeah.
They cut out a lot of motherfuckers.
Yeah. So our military is being depleted, even though like we have the most technological stuff and we can, do a lot of stuff, but it's becoming worse and worse.
That whole DEI, that diversity, equity, inclusion shit, that's going to keep just bringing. All right, cool. You want to include people? Awesome. Are they good for the job? No, probably not. So now our shit's being ran by people who has no fucking idea what they're doing.
No. And listen, don't get me wrong. I would not be opposed to send a partially gay section military to a thing. Could you imagine going into like Iran or something like that, and all you see is pink flags, and the thought of them they don't even need weapons. They just running out with their dicks out, like, come on, boys, let's get some.
They would be.
That is the military I would definitely be on board with.
Look, they wouldn't be flying with a pink flag. It'd be the pride flag. Come on, get it
right. It would.
I mean, listen, I don't care. That would scare the hell out of me if I was in another country and I just saw a bunch of gay men coming around like the gay pride parade in California. I'd be like,
Hey,
move!
Telling me, have you seen it?
I've seen the gay pride parade in California. It's scary. But I mean, it's but nobody cares. I mean, what is it? Don't ask, don't tell is so gone. Nobody cares. They just, and it's the same.
No, now it's please tell and accept.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
if not, you get a blanket party for not accepting. Oh, you were bad.
Yeah.
And
orders.
Huh?
You're ashamed if you don't do what they demand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
I have a question. Who here drinks alcohol?
I'm sober a year and a half.
Yeah, I haven't really much.
Okay. Have you had any Bud Light recently?
No, hell no.
no.
or has Vivek Ramaswamy has renamed it Bud Right?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't drink fucking Bud Light for years because it just sucked. And then whenever they did this, I was like, you guys are just going from frat boys to I don't even know what now.
Well, now they're saying that they didn't do it. They just sent him. I mean, the dude. Listen, Dylan Mulvaney is a smart person. Okay, so what I've heard is that they sent him this care package with his that they send to influencers, and he came out and said that's what he just went off and was like, oh look, Bud Light's sponsoring me, and and he went off, and then the lady had when the lady from Bud Light was talking, it was a couple years ago when she wanted to start doing all this stuff, but he just came out and said it, and Bud Light was just like, they've lost $7 billion. Yeah, they've lost $7 billion in the last couple of days, and that's people don't want this stuff stuffed in their face. And Dylan Mulvaney, to be honest, I feel is not really. He never said he's a transgendered person.
No,
he just said
that's not true.
Well, I don't. Did he? Okay, because I was gonna say I keep talking mad shit about him because I keep saying he's just an egotistical asshole that's fucking grifting on people, and it's also to in my opinion, all these companies that keep doing this shit. Let's not forget about ESG and environmental social governance. That's coming hot our way. So all these companies that keep doing this bullshit, that keep trying to go with the woke stuff, we have to remember, even if they're pushing some asshole that we don't agree with, it seems like they're doing it for kind of a reason.
Yeah. They're trying to see who's going to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the bad person and who's the good person. And it's just, I mean, do you realize the countries are just watching us self-implode? That's why we haven't really had any major attacks in the last bunch of years, because they're just watching from the inside, waiting for us to be so weak that they just come and just walk in.
Right.
They don't care.
They still needed to use us for the petrodollar until they decided to make their own shit.
Yeah, which is happening.
Yeah, or how do you pronounce that? The Chinese dollar.
Yuan.
Oh, yuan.
Yeah, yuan.
Yeah, I know one person who still drinks Bud Light.
Ooh.
Drunken.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock. It's a 5 o'clock shadow somewhere, as someone said.
And Ron on point, but it was different.
I heard that one this time.
Watch. He's gonna stream. He's gonna talk about me.
But I mean, yeah, no, really. The only reason why people
beef fridge is empty.
The only reason why people drink Bud Light and Coors Light is when they want to drink all day and then get drunk by like midnight. That's the only reason why people drink that stuff, because you know it's a piss water. If you want to really get drunk, you drink.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
IPAs and stuff. I've just been telling people to buy local. That's all. Whenever anybody says anything, I say buy the local shit.
And I'm not gonna lie,
it helps.
Hard AF Seltzer follows us, so buy Hard AF Seltzer.
But yeah, Hard AF definitely, definitely not
a sponsor, but you guys are fucking awesome.
Hard AF Seltzer does definitely not go hard. Definitely goes hard in the paint for not Dylan Mulvaney. Let's put it that way. So if you're gonna drink anything, drink local or Hard AF Seltzer if you like seltzer. But yeah.
I swear to God, if I see a beer can with your faces, I'm just gonna say it.
Dude, if I see a beer can with my face, I might go back to drinking.
I'm gonna be drinking every day.
Yeah, I'm drinking my face.
I almost asked a silly question. I almost DM'd them, hey, do you guys have a non-alcoholic seltzer? And I was waiting for the, hey, asshole, it's called seltzer water.
If I ever get my face on any drink and people are asking, so what are you drinking? I'm drinking myself.
You're drinking a Dos Equis or El Presidente.
I had to block it because they kept tagging me, and I said and I asked them to stop tagging me because I didn't know what the hell is their marketing thing. They just tagged the people, and I said block.
Who was tagging you?
Dos Equis.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it's their official one or if someone was trolling, but it was a Dos Equis account, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't do alcohol. And
I only drink Olympian beer. Thank you very much.
Hey, be careful. If you drink that Olympian, you're going to turn Caitlyn Jenner.
It's just water from the Rio Grande.
That explains everything with Caitlyn.
Oh, hey, Jackie wasn't here for the Olympian episode.
So Abel, you want to explain to Jackie about the Olympian comment, or are you not allowed to because of your popularity now?
I'm still gonna make it. So I don't know if you know this, but my mother's actually an Olympian.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, she's good at cross country, swimming, and jumping.
She gave me her legal.
She's an illegal.
I kind of got it because of his earlier comment talking about that.
So then later on, Midwest was like, "That's my favorite thing to call Mexican people now."
We were talking, and I'm like, and I'm just thinking, and all of a sudden I go, "Oh, I just got that."
That's fucking great.
All this stuff while pregnant. I give her credit where credit is due. I don't know if she won gold medal though.
I always thought that was hilarious. Somebody mentioned on a podcast, they're like, when a white athlete makes a move, it's called smart. When a black athlete makes a move, it's called athletic. So it's like, I've noticed people do that quite a bit.
Yeah. If there ever sees this, I'm getting a call immediately. Oh, and I'll be back, guys.
Mijo, ¿qué tú estás haciendo? ¿Qué? Oh, man.
I know she's going to ask me, is there a window open? I said, no. She's going to go either open it or walk outside. She's going to say, give it a second. It's like, for what? Next thing you know, you just hear me on the phone screaming.
She's going to fly her broomstick?
No, she threw her chancla.
Yeah, there you go. Chocolate Ninja.
Oh, man.
It's like Thor's hammer. She tosses it and it comes back eventually.
There you go.
That's why I drank Michelob so I can keep my mind while drinking. I mean, yeah.
You know what?
It's
I'm gonna send you a GIF, drunken. I'm gonna have to talk to your wife about your address.
it's
I
just
don't
it,
say what it involves.
so
But
so you're on Twitter. Like, do you get like harassed on Twitter a lot?
No, I
For-
don't get harassed that often. If I do, it's rare. But most of the people who get harassed are the young women who are involved in this because it's easier to harass young women as a 6'5" guy compared to
You're
harass.
6'5"?
No, I'm not 6'5". I'm
No.
talking about
Oh, I was gonna say you're 6. Whoa.
So he's talking about the other people. Yeah.
Oh, like
yeah. It's easier for Bubba 6'5" to harass a 5'3" 100-pound young woman who's been traumatized by this medical system compared to a 5'4", 200-pound Hispanic male. It's like, who would you rather harass?
Right. Well, and I mean, but it's also they could
Yeah.
try to harass you, but you've been through the shit. You can talk shit back and completely
no.
correct them. It's hard for someone to talk shit when they're dumb.
Yeah, I have people calling me coward, and I was like in a chat, and then I was like, are you talking about me? And then they eventually tagged me back like the next day, said, what are you ignoring me, coward? Like I was like, I didn't even you were talking about me, and I could care less if you're talking.
Right. It's like that Thanos meme. I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, I should probably do that.
Mhm.
Give it a day. It's like, I don't even know who you
I
are.
don't even know who you are.
you mean this wonderful woman who is now part of a dance
Is that a
place?
grown ass person over?
Ma'am, your bulge
Shit.
is showing.
I fucked up. This is my favorite part coming up. And she got accepted to a prestigious dance school.
Oh my god.
Even
And this poor girl,
My-
it's
My 11-year-old daughter does better than what the fuck? Like
I didn't know what ballet is. Okay, I know a little bit about it, but I don't know much. But even I knew that guy was completely off.
terrible. Like there was no grace to it at all. Like, and I'm a dude, and I will say there was no grace to that.
you could hear his feet hit the ground. You hear, and the camera was shaking.
Right.
And you're like, and the little girl on the other side is just like, but you barely heard her even like jump.
So, like, and I don't even want to say it, but it's like, when is are we like, are some people gonna start being like, well, now it's like trans privilege, or like what kind of privilege is that whenever you're just terrible at it, but you're getting in anyways? Like,
Well,
it's fucking
it's
ridiculous.
called affirmative action.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Well, it's no longer they don't want equality because, like you said, it now they want equity, and it's
not even
it's
equity,
superior.
it's
They want
privilege.
superior. They want
Yeah.
superiority. They want to be superior to everybody else because it's not, it's not okay, well, you didn't make it. I'm sorry. No,
Right.
I mean, if you heard the
Well,
Riley
and then the
Gaines-
corporations, and then the corporations and all the universities are
Well,
going along with it.
yeah, going in toward it. Yeah. What's that, Abel?
I said, speaking of Riley Gaines, did you hear what happened?
Yeah, I got the video right
Yeah.
here.
And
I'm
did
gonna
you
pull.
response?
Did you hear her response?
No, the response from the school.
Oh no, I didn't totally hear that, but I do know that
The
that lady
response was,
that lady blocked her too, which is funny.
The response from the school, their official letter was they support the school with their very, very peaceful protest, and they love difference of opinions.
No, they don't. It's fucking
they don't.
bullshit.
So this is what happened to Riley Gaines. For anybody who doesn't know, Riley Gaines was the girl that came out against the male
William
and
Thomas.
female. Huh? Leah Thomas, yeah. William Thomas, also known as Leah Thomas.
Didn't she tie with him for third place?
So no, they got. So what happened was they
she tied for him for first. Yeah,
she tied with her for first, and her story is that they. So basically, you go in the back and they give you the trophy, and then you go to the podium. So they tied to the 10th of a second, and they said to her that we'll mail you your trophy, and she said, "Well, who's going to go?" And they said, "Well, we're going to give it to Leah, and Leah is going to represent the first place on the podium
because it's
PR
better.
Shit. Yeah, it's a better PR." And it's like, so wait a minute. So I won, she won, and you're going to just let her do it? And they just dismissed her.
Yep.
So, but this is what happened. She spoke out against, basically, once again, women are getting trampled in these things. You're phasing out women, and these are women who are saying these things, and they're phasing themselves out. Like, they're calling themselves, instead of mothers or breastfeeding, it's called chest feeding. Instead of womanhood, it's called
parenthood.
Yeah. It's like they're
I have a question.
Dating mother and father.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Have you had kids?
I have 2.
How does it feel to be a birth giver and chest feed?
Oh, I was pregnant with my second son when this started. When they started calling people chest feeders and was it? I don't know, whatever. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You have no idea what it's like to gain almost 100 pounds to carry around a fucking kid, and all they do is just suck the life out of you, and you love them dearly, but you're tired all the fucking time. You don't look the same. You don't feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a chest feeder.
Language, how dare you?
Yeah, and then that's what you get reduced to, a chest feeder.
Yeah.
I get reduced to a fucking chest feeder.
You're also a birth giver.
Yeah. Birthing
person.
And
a birth giver.
Yeah, birthing person.
I have no feeling in my abdomen from the C-sections. Like, seriously?
Yeah. My wife too. My wife, they had to cut they had to tie her tubes or give her a hysterectomy because they said if she gave birth to one more child that it would kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And all all the scarring and everything like that. But I've seen lives
dudes.
where they
fuck them dudes that are prancing around like Dylan Mulvaney, skinny as shit, and you're like, no, dude, get pregnant, have a kid, and then don't get appreciated and see how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how you really feel, Jack.
Well,
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Everyone mute their mics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, listen, I've said this for a long time. This podcast is like therapy for me. So, Jack, whenever you want to just go off, go for it.
Oh yeah.
Just go for it. We'll even make a new
Scott
one.
Knows.
Scott, make a new one with that sound and just put Jackie's rant, Mama J's rant.
Exactly,
let her just go.
I'm down.
But
especially when it comes, because I used to play sports too. Like, I played soccer for 14 years. I went to college. I had a scholarship to play, and I did there for a year. That's a whole different story. But still, like, when it comes to this whole,
Stacy,
like, women, the transgender sports thing, it really pisses me off, because it's just like, how come? And I've said it so many times that Leah Thomas, transition from a man to a woman and competes in women's sports, but then in the same fucking sport there is a woman who is transitioning to a man who is swimming in Princeton, but they still swam as a woman and didn't go to the men's thing,
right,
category or whatever,
division.
But they stayed in the women's, and everything's fine. And we have to sit here and be like, oh, okay, we have to be sensitive to the fact that this guy thinks that, he looks like a woman.
Beck, your first mistake was saying
I can't.
your first mistake was saying have to, because the only thing that I have to do in life is fucking die.
Well, no,
So-
but here's the thing:
No,
is that
I
you
know,
have
but-
you have these young women. Okay, and we were talking about it before. Why are these women? Why are some of these women transitioning into men? Because they're being
Right.
told that women are victimized and that they're not good enough or strong enough or whatever. But then you have these men coming into their spaces, and then these women are being told that they can't say anything about
Right.
this man coming into their space because it's offensive and you don't want to be offensive.
Well,
And it's doubly like making the woman a victim.
well, exactly.
And then
yeah,
they're
it's
gonna go and like beat up Riley because she's
Right.
like, no, I don't want a man in my space. And then she's the asshole.
right. Well,
Give
it's
me
a
a
bunch of
fucking
bullshit.
break.
You can't even defend yourself as a person, like in that aspect. Let alone their attack on defending yourself, as a fucking individual, whether you get attacked or not, which keeps happening. Now you can't even defend yourself as a woman, as a biological person, as what you went through. Like you said, you played sports and everything else. Now here's the imposing question no one seems to want to fucking answer. Why aren't women that are transitioning to men joining men's sports? Oh, we know why. Because you'll get dominated. So why the fuck
They'll get their
are the
ass
men
beat.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's the reason why all these men that are transitioning to women are joining the sports, because they can go dominate. It's not that hard to fucking see.
I can't wait till
No.
they change Mama J's name to Turf J.
Dude, I don't fucking care. Take your
Turf J.
labels
hold
or
on.
whatever and shove it up your ass.
Will return never
Will return
killed
ne-
by Jackie over. Jay, no.
It's ma'am.
It is my.
That's the only.
Oh.
And right before she murders me, I yell, "It's ma'am."
No, and I tell the guys all the time, like, I understand there are transgender people. It's
Mhm.
just not as many as people are thinking that there are. It's extremely,
Well,
extremely rare.
It's that too, but there's also the ones that are trying to do it, that are really trying to move through it and understand it both mentally and physically, that aren't about all this fucking you must appease to what we are saying and doing bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the real ones that actually want to fucking do it, or that think that way, and that also, to be honest, that also understand that it probably is a mental illness, and they see that it might be, but they want to try to deal with it. Okay, cool. I respect them more, as opposed to the ones that are like, you have to fucking do this or you're a piece of shit. Like
Pretty piece of.
you're a piece of shit.
Well,
I
if you-
should just get a shirt that says turf POS.
look, I'm getting a shirt made. I can't say what it is, but it's funny.
All right. All right. I'll be waiting on that one. Oh yeah.
When I'll show it to you guys, but if you want, I'll show you a meme that I made after the show is over.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna have to get Jackie a special made shirt that says Mama J Turf POS.
Dude, seriously. And like I don't care. Like at this point in my life, I'm just like, because like I said, it's us women are eliminating ourselves. And
Right.
like doing
you're not wrong.
it and then doing the whole passive aggressive woman thing and talking behind people's backs about it rather than just saying stop.
Right.
You want to know something funny? I
Jokes.
found a tranny at my job.
Oh really?
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now here's the funny part. I won't go into full detail what I do. But because I interact with a lot of people, I asked my boss, and because he knows what I do, I said, "Hey boss, I have a question. If I have to go talk to a tranny, can I call in a request for a supervisor to just monitor everything from the distance, just so my ass is covered?" He says, "It is because they're just a tranny? No. One, they can conceive that as being transphobic, and if it is just because they are a tranny, no, because we don't want to get in trouble. The company will pick them over you." It's like, understandable.
Once again, it's about power. It's about
well,
superiority, and
it's about feelings. It's about feelings over like reality and facts, and like even trying to present anything.
Yeah, I
Like
even
this-
spoke, why I'm not a huge fan of them. They hate my guts. I'm a public figure, and
Right.
I don't want to deal with extra bullshit while I
Right.
work. Because like unless
Right.
it's hostiles, that's the only time I can come.
Well,
guess-
and that person you were just showing, Davey, that's actually a level-headed one.
Yeah,
Because I've
Kelly
heard,
Carrigan.
I've heard, and I
Like-
will say her for her because she seems pretty fucking like actually grounded in a lot of things.
Who is that?
Well, Kelly Carrigan.
That name sounds familiar, but I can't remember.
But here's the this is the this video is this isn't her. This is a woman who commented on one of Kelly's TikToks. Listen to what this poor woman like, and she was on their side. She was on the side of the mentally ill people.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to
turn
go
that
through a
volume up.
comment that I left in somebody else's video that has millions of views now
Yep.
because it was offensive somehow. Listen, it was a trans person. And I said, I agree with everything that you said in the video. And also, I wouldn't have known that you were trans if you hadn't told us. You look great. That's all I said. That's all I said. And the amount of comments, I'm getting people coming to my page and hating on me that I'm having to block because they're saying that that's not a compliment. I never said that she wouldn't have looked great if she wasn't trans. Like, how is telling somebody that they look great now not a compliment? One of my really good friends is a trans person.
That I hate too. That's starting to bother me.
Right.
Like, you have to tell everybody no. If they think you're whatever, fuck them. They're people on the internet.
Yeah.
They're people on the internet. If your company fires you because of that, you know what? That company's a piece of shit. Because if they know you, if they know how you really are, if they know you as a person, and if they cared about you, they know that it doesn't like all she said was you look great, and I didn't know. And people are coming at her for that.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break, people. We have come so once again. We are so fucking bored in this country that we're looking for things to be offended by.
Yeah, we have to create problems.
And I don't have you guys are reaching for problems that are just not there.
Correct.
Stop.
It's insane that she would get a bunch of hate for telling someone that they look good, and that if you didn't say that you were trans, then they wouldn't know.
Well, it just doesn't matter. It's like even if you mentioned it, you didn't say that or whatever. It just no matter what, unless you just say you look great. If you mention any other part, you're fucked. Rip Abel Garcia, 97, 2023.
Too many jokes aired at Jackie.
Basically,
no.
But it's what'd you say? It's gonna be
That's
what?
gonna be at his gravestone.
Oh yeah.
When it says my name and my cause of death.
But it's so insane that we've gotten to this point because dude, I can't stop. These lives are so much better than watching any reality TV show I have ever seen. Like literally, these people will come in and have a conversation. I listened to one today, and this lady was literally begging. Where do I find this information? I don't want to be bigoted. I just want to learn. And these people were telling her, that's not our job. We're not here to teach you. You go and find out the information yourself. You ever heard of a rabbit hole? And then she's like, I'm just asking, can you please not yell at? I'm not. See, that's the problem. You're perpetuating a stereotype that black women, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous what you're doing.
What?
And you're telling black women that they're loud. We're just passionate and we're not angry. You're perpetuating an anger. And it's like, whoa, this lady literally was begging for you to tell her. And she's like, well, I just want to not get bad information. Just tell me where. No, that's not your job. My job here is not to teach you anything. You're supposed to learn on your own. And you're like, wow, these people are insane. They're insane. And it's like the same thing with the transgender. I literally was listening. A guy came in and he was a troll. This guy was A1. He came and he said, my son came to me and told me that his wiener wasn't big enough and he wanted to have surgery to elongate his wiener. Mind you, it is a transgender forum that they're talking about. And the girl goes, you know, you're a sick person. We don't want to hear what's in your kid's pants. And I'm going, that's what you guys are talking about. You guys are talking about trans kids' rights to change what's in their pants. And she's going, you're disgusting. How could you talk about your kid's wiener? You're disgusting. That's so disgusting. And I'm going, are they listening to them? And I'm like, no, they're not listening to what they're saying. They're literally advocating for women.
Well, yeah, we don't. Well, we definitely don't wonder, but we know why. No, that's exactly it. Trying to talk to them reasonably or factually doesn't work. Never. It just never seems to work. You're right on.
It's like, excuse me, ma'am. You're talking about what's in this person's pants, and then you want me to not ask them if they're a boy or a girl and ask them what's in their pants.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know, and that's the whole thing that we keep trying to fight. We're like, why are you guys pushing this on kids? And then we're bigoted for saying don't push any of this stuff on kids. But when they say something like that, why are you talking about like?
By the way, we should have cut the YouTube a while ago just to let you know.
Yeah.
It's just sad. I just feel bad for people who are being convinced that it's that it's one thing, and then it's hurting them, and then and no one's and like with what Abel's doing. When people are saying, oh, well, 99% of the people who transition are actually happy with it. And it's not true.
No,
and it's like really sad to see people going through this because they do have a trauma or they're going through a hard time.
That's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. These people call me a liar. They call me a lot of other things. But you know what? I want to ask them, do me a favor, do an experiment. Step out of line one day and you tell me how these people react. Don't do it today. Do it on a random day. Speak out on accident or step out of line. Ask one too many questions and you tell me how they react. Are they still going to be loving and caring towards you, or are they going to kick you out? Because I answer.
Yep.
Right. Like it's when you were saying that all you asked was just to confirm when they were having a meeting so you could have that bridging the gap between law enforcement and that was good enough, and it was against the rules, and they just dropped you like that. And that's what's sad. It's just sad that like it's become cultish.
Oh yeah,
this is a new religion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a cult. It's definitely a cult.
How hilarious is it that Davey's picture is the Coming to America dad? I'm sorry, I had to say that. My ADD was kicking big time. As soon as he brought that up, it was the Coming to America dad. I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
The king is the Munda.
All right, sorry.
By the way, this non-alcoholic cerveza telequitative, whatever it is, it's a Walmart brand. It's pretty fucking good.
Nice. Hell yeah.
For
it was your name on it, Davey.
Listen, hard AF, baby. I will drink. Listen.
You know what?
We love you.
And with your face, and ask me what, and someone asked me what are you drinking, I'm gonna tell them I'm drinking hard Davey.
Hard Davey.
Drinking the trouble hard. A hard troublemaker. That's what you're drinking. A hard troublemaker.
I'm just gonna try to make a joke and say I'm drinking Davey under the table.
Oh shit!
It's like you said, Jackie. This is a cult, and it's so and it's so funny to watch them call everybody else who thinks differently cult members.
Right.
And they're so hung up on and they're still going on with the Trump thing. Like I don't get it. Like they're so incensed with Trump. Like I don't know, man. And they're like, well, we don't like Biden either.
You're in Texas with all these activists.
The what?
You want to know how bad it is with these activists here in Texas?
How?
The day that I was testifying on a bill to protect minors, a lot of them came up, were yelling, had done an insurrection against the state capitol, and they were screaming their main mantras, and a lot of them I saw was the classic "Come and Take It" Texas flag or symbol, but it had a vial of testosterone, estrogen, and with the same come and take it. Now I left before it ended because I had been there from 7 to 8:30 in the morning. I don't remember exactly, but I was there early in the morning, and it ended at midnight. I left around like 10 to 11. Footage showed that these people did a die-in. A lot of them pretending to die, covering themselves with trans flags, or just dying, and saying that it was these representatives false to the Republicans. And I'm just like, y'all are crazy. And I'm the cult.
Yeah, that. I
And
don't
also
know. I don't know how it all got screwed up in that, the person saying that they don't want children to be chemically castrated are the ones that are the bad guys.
I still don't understand that. I really don't.
It's like in the Inglorious Bastards where the guy see his uniform and it has the skull and crossbones on it, and he's like, "Oh, we the baddies." Yeah.
Well, here's like the main thing. Like I was kind of saying with Will Johnson.
I have an idea for a meme.
It's like in ways they try to disguise this. They want to do this with their children as in their parenting, so it's their choice, and also under liberty as I have the freedom to do that. But it's like you're crossing a morality boundary, and like whenever I say morality, people sometimes want to go to like religion. It's like, no, that has nothing to do with that. This is a morality boundary toward a kid that needs to make their choices.
One thing that a lot of these people keep saying, like we have parents that have the right to do whatever they want. Why is the government interfering? It's like the government already interferes enough on parents' choices with the kids. But here's the thing: you don't have the freedom to sterilize and castrate your child. You don't have the right to turn them into a medical patient. And that is a right. That is a privilege you have, but that is not something that you should be allowed to.
Right.
Does anybody like remember what happened with the Gypsy Blanchard case?
Oh
Like,
my God.
No.
That story is the definition of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. The definition. If you've never seen or heard of Gypsy,
I'll say I definitely have heard of it, but I don't know what all has happened.
What was her name again? Gypsy what?
Blanchard.
Gypsy Blanchard, yes. If you don't, this is what I don't understand how a lot more of these kids that are going through this haven't done that. But that story is insane. And the fact that she went to jail at all is just it's a blight on the justice system. And I was talking to Kelly last night. She was saying her ex-husband beat her three or four times. And if she fought back, she would go to jail. And she did one time and she got 2 years probation. Meanwhile, this guy was getting a year probation every single time he hit her and beat her. Like he threw her across a parking lot, and she hit back once and she got 2 years probation.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, it's
and
like,
they won't extradite him.
And like in New York, it's called like the like the right to flee or whatever.
Yep.
Like you've got to
It's
flee.
in New Jersey
it's
too.
The same in New Jersey. Like if
fuck
someone's
that.
beating up on you or whatever, you have to try and escape first before you can fight back. Like it's
that is like the dumb.
asinine.
That's the dumbest shit ever. That is really the dumbest shit ever.
Oh, what were you
Abel,
saying?
you really need some headphones or something.
I'm sorry. I'm working with a phone, okay? My laptop you and gave up on me.
Mm-hmm.
It did. He froze up like 50 times before you got on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what were you saying? Sorry.
Do you guys know who Billboard Chris is?
Yes. Yeah, we played. He's the guy with the from last week when I played the transgender grabbing him by his throat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the cop,
Ma'am 2.0.
you guys already know, but cop said that she wasn't going to do anything because Chris was instigating everything, and she considered it physical combat.
Yeah. He didn't do a fucking. He just sat there and was doing an interview with a guy talking about just, the guy was asking him how he was doing with all this. How can he stand it? And he was just saying that, just tunes about and whatnot. They were screaming in his face, and finally transgender just got in his face, grabbed him by his throat, and he was punched a couple times by a couple different people on that day.
Yeah, a lot of people who are supporting the TRAs and the cop, and they have been posting footage of Chris putting his hands on the activist who punched him. But if you look at it, obviously, if you look back a few minutes in advance, obviously it's continuing, screaming in his face, touching him,
Mhm.
and all he did was lightly tap him to get some distance, and that right before they obviously assaulted him.
Yeah, and that's like the
Combat.
well, that like a lot of that to me though is too like I'm sorry he did even better than me because I'm sorry if
Yeah.
you get in arm's reach of me and you're yelling at me or something, then you're already done. So
But-
I don't get how people think they can do that.
I have a question. So if I'm screaming in your face and I assault you, the police will say that was mutual combat, and I'll go away scot-free, and you're going to jail. Is that right?
I don't care at that point
Not
because if
for
you're
nothing.
if you're in my face and you're like yelling at me or threatening me, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out. That's when the law gets thrown out of the water, in my opinion. That's me though.
See, Billboard Chris, he wasn't thinking. I get he was getting yelled at, but if he just ball tapped her, it would have been game over.
Yes,
I mean, it would have been what, simple assault? I mean, I thought she was a woman. I was just flailing my hands to get her away from me.
That's the whole thing. She'd be like, fuck you, and you're like, what's the capital of Thailand? Bangkok.
Bangkok.
That one transgender, it was an army of them plus Antifa. So had tapped one of them, they would have all swarmed him, and the police would have definitely would have looked away until it was a little too late, and they had to save him.
Right. It would have been hilarious.
I think it's funny the alliance, I guess you'd say, between Antifa and like the transgender movement.
Well, a lot of
I'm not
are Antifa members.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that so back in like
slap.
20 back in like 2017, I was looking into like Antifa and like the BLM, and when you looked at like websites,
How much was it to
for
join,
them,
Jack?
I know. I will not tell. Let's just say I donated a lot of money to Act Blue from various accounts. You know?
Yeah.
Like the old people?
No, yeah, like the old people. No, but I was looking at their websites from like Rose City Antifa and like BLM, and this is like closer to like the height of all the fighting that was going on, especially in Portland and Seattle and everything. And their websites about like what they're about were almost identical. And had stuff about like, you know, the nuclear family, wanting to get rid of that, supporting the LGBTQ community, and that was like a huge part of it. It was very odd.
Scott, do you know where Kendallville is?
No.
Okay, it says it's Indiana. Breaking. Police are on the scene to active shooter situation with multiple shots being fired. Currently, multiple law enforcement and other agencies are responding to an active shooter hostage situation in Kendallville, Indiana at apartments. What? Okay. What the fuck is going on? This is just the other day, some guy did the bank thing. There was a reported cops were shooting in Pittsburgh. A dairy farm went up in was exploded. There is something seriously going on.
All the crazies are starting to fucking activate, man. That's what it seems like.
It's Kelly sends me all the stuff. She just sent this to me now, but like she sends me all the stuff, and it's just article after article after article of things that are just fucking going on right now. Hold on, let me show you. I haven't seen it. Sure. What are you doing?
Just past that tree. Kendallville and fucking Drake Terrace apartments. Do we have fucking standoffs with the police? And they're all the way down the fucking aisle.
Yeehaw!
Aisle down the road.
No shit. Okay, the only thing that I'm gonna say that was halfway funny is it sounded like Bubbles at the beginning. from Trailer Park Boys.
Guys, this is not very good, guys.
Totally sounded like Bubbles at first. I was like, is this a parody? What's happening? But okay.
Get the kitty cats out. Get the kitties out. But I just, it's so insane. Everything people have finally we're coming into a bad place. And I said it last night. What is the government? What would stop the government from just because that the place that exploded yesterday? If I could find it really quickly. Oh, that's another one. Wisconsin declares a state of emergency for wildfires. Like, what's to stop? New Jersey's on fire. Currently, a massive forest fire raging in Manchester County. 25 structures, and it's like a mile long. It's freaking share it real quick.
Like with like the structure, well, not structure, but like with the fires and other shit like that happening, I can see like why that JP Morgan calling for land seizure to start going into play with Ohio and other places like that.
Look at that. Look at how fucking long that is.
It looks like fucking Apocalypse Now.
It does.
The world is congrats.
You just don't lead them so far, sir.
Yeah.
But it's insane. So what's to stop the government from coming in? Oh, here it is. So this was, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Evacuation orders for residents and persons within a half a mile of the incident have been issued. These outside of the half a mile, east, northeast, and downwind of the incident are encouraged to shelter in place. Turn off HVAC units, keep windows and doors closed, and bring pets inside until advised further. And this is... What did I do? Where'd it go? Shit. Oh, okay. That was in Richmond.
Yeah.
In Richmond. So what would the government, what would stop the government from just doing that in a town and then just taking it over? And then doing that in every state. And just, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's martial law. And they've taken over, and that's it. Like, I think about that every time there's something a new one of these crazy things. I just it's nuts, man. It's just that exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the point. Well, it's kind of the point. I mean, we all kind of see it as that way because it just keeps fucking happening more and more. But it's like when we pointed out, people are like, "What do you think? It's a coordinated effort?" It doesn't fucking have to be coordinated, bro. They don't have to fucking meet in rooms and whatever else. If people have the same fucking mind frame and want it, like where it's going. Denton, Texas.
Well, just so you know, on the front page of Drudge Report today, they're talking about a new COVID variant.
Oh yeah, I saw that. And guess where it is?
Where?
New Jersey.
No.
Yep, California. And it was one more other state like that. And I was like, gee, all of a sudden they're trying to get they stopped the COVID ban all across the United States, except for a couple states.
And now all of a sudden a new variant.
Yeah. And New Jersey was one of the states where they're trying to get Murphy to stop. And all of a sudden it's a new variant.
All right.
It's insane, man. It really is. And I've heard these people just keep talking about how come, why are we, the people in the Midwest are just so backwards. And so, no, the people in the Midwest are just not woke like you guys are.
Yeah, we're not just giving into the bullshit.
Yeah, like they passed in Kansas, they passed the legislation that says by one vote, and it was a Democrat that said that, transgender males can't participate in female sports.
Mm-hmm.
And people were pissed, and they put out the guy who voted against it. They put his name out there, his phone number, his email. I emailed him. I said, thank you for doing what was right. I said, I moved here a year ago to get away from all the nonsense and everything in the coast, and thank you for doing what was right. And people are just pissed.
Okay.
Huh?
That's it. So you left California for that?
I left Jersey for that. Yeah.
Close enough.
This bullshit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just opposite sides. But yeah, I mean, and people are like, and you hear people like, what? They're so backwards. And no, they're fucking sane.
Right.
They're
Well,
sane.
it's like the meme that I shared today. They're like, who indoctrinated you? Like, nobody. I'm just a normal person from 50 years ago. That's what I.
Kidding me? The activists themselves. Actually, that's the funny part. If I ever go back to my hometown in California and I get a protest, I want to start off my speech with, I want to tell you guys thank you first, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have my villain origin story today.
There you go.
Everyone else, like, thank these people, because if it wasn't for them, I'd still be here in California as you guys protesting people like me.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for my villain origin story.
Well, and on that note, we will transition to the outro, entering villain season. Why don't you go ahead and plug yourself again there, Abel?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at officialabelg. I am on YouTube. I'm sorry I haven't posted much, but it is Abel Garcia. But most of those are my main email, most of my work. I have some stuff in the background in the workshop, but I will tell you guys when that is official.
Right on.
Great. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for coming on. And you can reach me at Scott_Craiglow on Instagram and also TikTok. And we have Business Party Podcast on Instagram. We've went over that 100 times. If you guys want to plug yourself, Mama J.
Oh, Lord. All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at JNEMLYONS. I need to get a new Twitter. And also, I am on Truth Social at Suburban Mama. Mama spelled MOMMA on Truth Social. And then you can find also me and Scott on Rumble at 2 Jacks 1 Scotch podcast. That always comes out on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And with our other co-host, Captain Jack. And catch us there. And we're on Spotify on there too.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, we gotta get on. I gotta get on that Spotify thing. But
I put on the last one. No problem.
Okay, good. You can find me on TikTok at Midwest Troublemaker. You can find me on Twitter at MW Troublemaker. TikTok will show you. I have a link tree in there to all of our other social medias, such as Instagram, Business Party Network, Dive Bar News. I'm going to try to start doing more of those, just to kind of, just maybe with other people and see what's going on. We want to have a broad and Patreon. Thank you, Stacy.
Yes,
our Patreon, Stacy, who I don't know if you've noticed, Stacy, we did up it. The Patreon now is if you are a Patreon for 6 months, we will send you a shirt. So, yeah. But yeah,
maybe a year I'll make you a hat. I crochet. I can crochet you a hat for the winter.
There you go. You get your own personal hat from Mama J.
Yeah.
With your name on it. Right? I don't know. Maybe no. Yes. No. Okay. No.
Yeah.
We'll
see. We'll see.
But yeah. So I mean, if you want to see, kind of some real shit that, on Patreon, we're gonna also do gaming. Me and Scotto are gonna do some gaming stuff, and listen, it's $3, folks. $3 to join our Patreon. You won't even miss it. Just have it automatically come out of your bank card or whatever. You're not gonna miss it. You're gonna forget it every time it comes out. You're gonna see, what's that $3 for? It goes to a great cause. It goes to a wonderful.
It's less than a Starbucks coffee.
That's half a. You can't even get a puppuccino for that.
It's half a carton of eggs.
You ain't kidding.
Mm-hmm.
So, hit the Patreon. The more Patreons we get, the more stuff we could do. But yeah, so we appreciate you all. And like we say every week, we are not here to change your mind. We are here to open your mind. Scotto?
And fuck the moon.
We're going to Uranus.
Enjoy this video.
Woo!